is pulled, or the experience of what I'm getting ready to talk about is pulled in two different directions. What do I mean? On the one hand, good. On the one hand, everybody wants to be loved. On the other hand, everyone fears they won't be loved if people see who they really are. So I'll repeat that. On the one hand, everybody wants to be loved, everybody. On the other hand, there's fear of if you see me, whoever is you, my mom, my boyfriend, my sister, whoever, that they won't love me. So that's one angle of this topic today. And the other angle is, do I want to see myself? Am I willing to see myself? Am I willing to own myself? Am I willing to admit me to me? Okay. So why am I bringing this up? Because what is sorely lacking that I am so have such expansive desire for is for melanin dominant men and women to be in love. And I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about the kind of connection that penetrates anything and everything that currently gets in the way or has potential to get in the way of us being in love. I'm talking about the kind of love that cares. I'm talking about the kind of love that supersedes all, like just the typical shit that gets in it comes up in relationships that breaks people up, that makes people run, hide, blame, shame. So that's one angle of why this is important. The other angle is the kind of planet I want to see, the kind of experiences that I want to have more of, that I want more of us to have of, the world I want my niece to live in. I have a 3-year-old niece. What I'm called to do, so this is layered for me, what I'm called to do. And then so much of what my name, a little bit of background for those of you who are new here. My name is Naima. I'm the founder of the Academy for Womanhood, where we help women grow up and become unapologetic women who design their lives on true desires terms. I've been on the internet for almost 13 years, helping women closely, dealing very much in the unconscious mind, deep fear, broken heart, trauma, the deep darkness of the human, and bringing a woman into wholeness of herself so she comes out and creates whatever it is that she truly desires. So I have a lot of experience, not only with myself growing up, but also a front row seat in the lives of women all over the world, not just Black women. Matter of fact, most of my career has not been working with melanin dominant women. It's only been in the last 5 years that I've focused on melanin dominant women. And time and time again, and I know that includes some of you here right now, almost all of us that I'm talking to, we have a project that's very important to us that we can't get off the ground. We did something and maybe we made a bad choice, or we didn't have what we need. We didn't have the stamina. We didn't have the courage. We didn't have the support. We lacked something. We got overwhelmed. Something happened. But, and there's things that we want to do that we've never seen done before. Who here has that here as a true vision? True, not something that you just sitting in a notebook somewhere, but something that you've invested money in, you've taken action on, you failed at it, you've already launched that thing, but it's never really got off the ground. And it's something that you haven't seen done before, or something that you're called to do. And part of the reason why these kind of connections that I'm talking about here are so important is because you're going to need that kind of power to drive your project. I have yet to see this in the world, what it is that I'm looking to do with us. And I know that because it's in me, it's in many of us. And what's in the way is this very work that I'm talking about. It's the very work, it's the core of the power work I've been talking about for years. I'm just talking about it through this angle. Like Nipsey Hussle said, What do you say? Same passion, different angle, nigga. Same passion, different angle, nigga. Anybody here? Hello, everybody. I asked a question if anybody here had a project that they launched and failed, a project of their heart, something that you know requires power, courage, you being in relationship with powerful people. Anybody here? Hmm. I see y'all. What do you want in a relationship? Whether you're a man or a woman, what do you want in a relationship? You want a wife? You want a husband? What do you want? What do you want in the relationship? What do you want to experience? Like truly, what do you most want in the relationship? And if the answer is love, tell me what you mean by that. The answer is care. Tell me what you mean by that. Somebody said wholeness. What does that mean to you? Somebody said a provider. Okay. There's plenty of women who tell you how to get that. Follow their steps. A great connection with support and endurance. What would a great connection look like for you, Lady K? What would great connection look like? What would that be? What would that be like? Give us an example of what great connection would be. Positive consistency. So is that what you're used to is men? I'm assuming you date men or want to date men. That the pattern in your life has been men who are inconsistent. I want consideration for my overall wellness. Okay, so hey, lover, loves lover. Is that same similar question to Lady K? Is it partly uh, that you have not been considered much in past relationships? Or maybe you weren't considering people and they were giving back to you what you were giving? It's a real question. So, the topic today of loving the devil within is partly inspired by the fact that a lot of melanin dominant men have internalized the ugly that the world has toward them, specifically being a Black man. Now, we know that as melanin dominant people, there's ugly that is often thrown at us globally. And there's a particular flavor of ugly that's thrown at melanin dominant men. So this topic is partly inspired by their experience of people just automatically looking at them as the devil, as hold, clutch your purse, Don't trust him. He's to blame. He's the problem. Okay. And the other part of the inspiration here is, and this is power on both sides, male and female, but now talk to the female lens as it relates to power. And for those of you who will be coming into my company, or even not, but who are being deliberate about your power, who are being deliberate about your power. And I think, mm, okay, all right. All right. Hmm. I'll say this quickly. A great number of perhaps you who are here now, and I know for sure a great number of women uh, are very much missing the mark of what ownership of her full power is, very much missing the mark. So we'll get there. Well, we're here now. It's just a matter of, it becoming known in your experience. So I envision us in a room multiple times. There's no, I envision us in a room, male, female, and before we even open our mouths, there's just a feeling. There's just a feeling. See, and what it takes to even say yes to a room like that. This, what I see for us is incredibly rare. Person has to really want it. It's extremely powerful. It has the potential to create great pivots in humanity. And it's what we most want. It's what we most want. Right now, many of us are blinded, just very easily blinded by what is placed in front of us, and or an experience, a feeling we could have in the moment, especially if it's a riveting feeling, a feeling we've never had before. If we're not familiar with intimacy, let's say if you're a woman and you're not familiar with intimacy with a man and vice versa. And to be clear, in case it's not already clear, I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about the intimacy of being noticed, of being witnessed, of being looked at with curiosity, being listened to. How foreign that is to both melanin dominant men and women, and how that experience alone would take some absorption. It would take some time for a person to be able to hold the, strengthen the capacity in the moment to be able to do that so that they can then get beyond that. Because beyond that is the rising of the power. Because so much before the rising of the power, there's this sort of contraction and expansion going on because your nervous system is not used to attention like this. This is what we need to do together. This is what I'm skilled at. This is what I'm calling us into. We're not familiar with it. We're used to fighting. We're used to being in pain. We're used to looking at each other with ugly eyes, doubtful eyes. And of course, there are plenty of us who we just big old love bugs, right? I know there's plenty of us who are like that as well. So this, what I'm saying right now to us is like a tall glass of water. It's like, girl, you speaking my language, girl. But then there's also a great number of us, okay, who, mm, right? It's a great number of women who ready to shank a nigga. And part of the wanting to shank a nigga is hearts that have been broken and disappointment, repeated disappointment, and unresolved pains. And also on the male side, a lot of melanin dominant men weren't loved by their mothers. That's major right there. That's large. Weren't loved by their mothers or had their heart broken by an ex, or a lot of melanin dominant men, didn't get chosen in high school and they got grudges at 38 years old. They got grudges still, and loving the devil within is loving even that. The behavior that comes out of the melanin dominant woman when she's mad at melanin dominant men. The behavior that comes out of a melanin dominant man when he's angry because he feels like he's not loved by the women he wants to be loved by. So the content that typically goes viral on the internet is the content that scratches those wounds, makes fun of it, and then just throws it in everybody's face. That's the content that goes viral, right? Cause that nigga, cause then that bitch, cause them, and we all feel it, right? I do. Just hurling it, just with the intent to hurt. He throwing shit, she throwing shit, and it's like boom, 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 boom. And then everybody just watching. And then depending on who's watching, some people are just so tired of it. Some people, they get cut too, right? Because maybe like if a black man watching it shares a pain that the black woman is saying, then he get cut watching it, or the black woman get cut hearing him say something and it, right? And so part of the ownership, what I said earlier about not only do we fear people will love us when they see who we really are, but will we love us when we see who we really are? Love ourselves. Will we own and accept our own power? Because if you're someone who knows that you love to inflict harm on people, or you like to watch other people have harm inflicted on them, part of you has to own the fact that you're what is it, a sadist or a masochist? Like, this is loving the devil within, okay? Your husband, your baby daddy, your brother, your father, your cousin, the men and the women, everybody ugly. Everybody's been hurt. Everybody. So what? And I don't mean so what like to dismiss it, but it's like Jay-Z said, everybody's scared. Everybody. Now what? We still want to play, right? We still want to have fun. We still want to be loved. That's why we love all this nostalgic stuff. When it was so easy when we were 16 and you would just see a boy and he'd be like, hey, what you doing? And we'd be on the phone for hours and we'd just go to the whoop wop. And well, we're not 16 anymore. We're not 16 anymore. We grown and we got grown ass problems and grown ass emotions. And we need to be willing to sit in grown ass rooms and have grown ass conversations and have grown ass feelings and tell the truth about our fuck ups, how we feel, what we want, be looked at in the eyes, be witnessed, be received. Because you might find your girlfriend in the room, melanin dominant man. You might find the love of your life in that room. You might find, if you want marriage, right? Because this is not about if you want a husband, if you want a wife. If you do, fine. I'm just saying, your husband could be in this room. A business partner could be in this room. Somebody that's a great friend for you for the next 3 years because some big old thing is going to happen in your life sometime within the next 3 years that's going to change your life. And this person who you met in this room is going to be by your side while you go through this either very difficult thing or this extremely amazing, life-changing thing. Do you want these kind of relationships where love is on the menu, true love, and us seeing each other, being seen in our rawness, playing, laughing together, crying together? Like, do you want these kind of relationships or not? Javon said yes. Is Javon the only one? See another yes. So I want us to start meeting in Houston soon. So as a segue to us meeting in Houston, we're going to meet online. I have 4 dates coming up when we're meeting online. Here are the rules. It's going to be on Zoom. So here are the rules for Zoom. You need to be on time with your camera on and present. What do I mean by present? I mean not in your car, unless you can be still in your car. Like don't be driving, okay? If you at work, no. You need to be somewhere undivided attention, fully present with no distractions, no noise, with your camera on, fully present. This is what I mean by present. If you can't be on time, don't come. There's 4 different dates. Pick a date that you can be on time and fully present, uninterrupted. Okay? So you can sign up for one of these with the link in my bio. It's called Death to Lies. Death to Lies. When you go to the link in my bio, you click it, there's like 6 or 7 options. It's the one at the very top. So you don't even have to look for it. It is the one at the very top, Death to Lies. Now, although I want us to meet in Houston, I also want to meet in other parts of the world. Amsterdam, um, another hot spot where I get a lot of action is North Carolina, North South Carolina, around there, New York, uh, Los Angeles, kinda. Um, where else? Chicago. Canada is lurking. Canada is around here. Uh, New York. So these are going to be super intimate gatherings. I'm thinking, well, really, it's about what wants to happen. This is really about like what wants to happen, not me necessarily governing something, but I'm very held. I'm very guided. The mere fact that I have the desire here, it's here. That all the help that's involved, the invisible help. Gosh, man. I want this for those of you who want it for yourself, to really be held by life. And I talked about this, where if you don't really get to know yourself, you're going to be scared of just life because it's really you that you're scared of. You don't know yourself. So it's like, you like doubt. Anyway, um, we moved to Tennessee from Houston. Yep. So, the subheading of today, shame, connection, and fear. Shame, connection, and fear. Just it's so big, so big. No, I do not give readings. So I put up some content about if you do not make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. These are the words of Carl Jung. I'll repeat, if you do not make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. And I modified it saying, if you do not make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it prophecy. You will call it generational curses. You will call it, um, you know, see, I told you. You'll call it all of this. And as it relates to this topic of shame, connection, and fear, oh, wow. You always, on some level, end up right back here. This is one of those things you have to experience, no matter how much I talk about it. You have to experience it for yourself. I have a question. I have a question. Can you sense that the power that you have is very foreign to this world? Can you sense that? Or do you know that? That the world, the power that you are, that you're not living right now. Right now, you live in a, I don't even know how you would describe how you living right now. How would you describe how you're living right now? Give me some words to describe how you're living right now. You're welcome. Somebody said delusion, nervously, day to day, crumbling, disassociated. Yeah. And how would you describe what you sense about your power or what you know about your power? Words would you use to describe what you either sense about your power or know about your power and who you are? I want you to notice how quickly and easily you came up with words for how you're living now and how slowly you're coming up with words for how you sense your power or know your power. Notice that the words was popping up when I talked about now, and they're all words, well, most of them are words of some kind of decline or disassociation. And when y'all did that fast, and then I asked you to share a word to describe how you sense your power, what the word that you would use to describe your sense of your power, the power you know you are. And uh, one person said, "Can't honestly answer what I know about my power. This is not. There's more to life than this. There's more to life than this." Yep. Listen now. Coming in now. Hey, intuition, real, beautiful, leader. A lot of fear of it by my conscious self. Yeah. So the reason why I asked that question is because when you sense you feel it, right? You can start giving more attention to it to swell it. That's why I asked how many of you were associated with it. And I was looking for your visceral experience with it. And you got to say yes to yourself. Like you got to say yes to coming into the room. Like the four gap, like you got to say yes to but here's the thing. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? See, these questions you got to be asking yourself to develop intimacy with yourself. Get off the internet, turn off the lights and ask yourself, or not turn off the lights, but what do you want? Like, what do you most want? What do you most want? Authentic connection. What would authentic connection look like for you? What do you want me to call you? If you really if that's what you most want, then you probably already have it. Or you're actively making it, doing it, making it, right? When somebody has something that they most want, they're typically working at it right now. They're not delaying, they're working at it right now. So you might want to ask yourself the question again. If you're saying that because you don't have money. To me, fully, what about it? I want to be me without holding back. Okay. Can't you go do that now? I mean, you're the only one who can stop you from expressing, right? I'm working on having connection within myself and others without fear. I'm feeling my way through, y'all. Feeling my way through. What does that even mean to embrace authenticity? What does that look like in relationship? What does that look like? Give me a real life example. I know not everybody here cares about real power. I'm talking about power. Everybody has psychic abilities. There's nothing special about psychic abilities. There's not all this spiritual stuff y'all talk about is nothing special about it. Y'all just not friends with people. It's millions of people around planet Earth with psychic abilities and all of this spiritual stuff. There's nothing special about none of this. You're born with spiritual tendency. Almost everybody on some level is born with some kind of something, even if it's the skill of gardening, okay, and being able to work with plants and use their hands and all that. Anyway, so let me go where I want to go. I want to see the power that's dormant in so many of us unleashed. That's what I want to see. When I say us, I mean those of us who are really here for power. I think half of y'all who are here are just here because you can be, because it's free, because you like to listen to me talk to see what you can take, and well, you ain't got shit else to do, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Most of y'all don't care about the power that I'm actually talking about. And that's fine. I'm here for the few. So I'm gonna ignore what some of y'all talking about and really get at the real meat of this. Okay. So the world that we live in is so fucking, it's just so, the video I put up yesterday talking about suppressing the human. What we're living in now is this whole these, you know, conversations about just the way the world is right now that is driving everybody crazy is because the truth of humans, the truth of humans is coming out, and everything that was in place to keep it y'all in line is being disrupted. Everything is just being disrupted. Everything, and and what, man, even the way relationship is being disrupted. You know, it's just it hasn't been real. It hasn't been real. The truth doesn't need to be argued. It doesn't need to be defended. It stands in the middle of storm, chaos, everything. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to protect it. All of this shit we get. You don't have to do that with the truth. Nature, you don't need to defend nature. And so, um, a lot of people are having a hard time because they want something that they can point to and depend on. They want something that feels solid. Ain't nothing about the feminine solid, but the feminine is steady. See, there's no, people having a hard time because the systems that we've been given, part of what they, uh, part of how they trick you is that they give you what you want, but they take what you need. Okay, so for example, with every system that exists, every single one, every system that humans have come to depend on and use to make sense of life, marriage, medical system, legal system, government system, everything about the way life works that people call normal, right? The way family works, the way life works, right? Depending on what country you live in, right? It's all falling apart because the whole system was designed for a few people to be in control and for the rest of y'all to feed the system. So the system needs to run on fuel, and it runs on the fuel of human ignorance and cooperation. That's what it runs on. Human ignorance and cooperation. Because it can only have value if people agree that it has value. That's the only reason money has value is because all of us agree that money has value. If even 50% of humans today, worldwide, if 50% of humans decided that money had no value and they weren't using it, money's value would drop tremendously, just like that. Why? Because you stopped agreeing with it. This is why marriage is losing its value. This is why the trust in the things that we've trusted in for centuries are losing its value, because humans are deciding that they don't believe in it anymore. They don't trust it anymore. It's not feeding them anymore. So people are disengaging, and it's destabilizing the system that was feeding on humans all along. It was depending on you trusting it, agreeing with it, doing its bidding, giving it fuel, giving it attention. Because again, the systems that has had humanity go only goes because humans worldwide agree with them. And you agree by doing it. You agree by engaging with the medical system. You agree by getting married. You agree by engaging in all the systems that make humanity go. Okay, now, what do I mean by they give you what you want, but take what you need? What you need to be a whole human being down here that flourishes. And I mean where you really know who you are. Because most of y'all watching me right now don't know who you are. You think you know. Like even people would be like, I know who I am. Okay. If you are God, if you're someone who you either have it or you don't, and if you don't know what it is, you ain't it. When you have it and you say to me, you know who you are, and yet so much of your behavior is rooted in fear. So we need to have another conversation. When you know who you are and you're on assignment, so then either you're like, yeah, I know that I'm living from fear and I'm just choosing to hang out here. Like that needs to be a conscious thought. Otherwise, you're missing something. Something is, you're missing something. Okay. And that's not a dig. Literally, you're missing. There's an entire conversation just sitting right here. It's a whole thing that's just sitting right here. And it's like there's all this, yeah, right here for you. For you. Like I'm very aware of this right here. But for you, it's like wow. When fear and shame is in the way, when ego stuff is in the way, and we could say ego is fear, ego stuff, fear stuff. When we're in these rooms, a lot of that will get dealt with because there's a Yeah, that stuff needs to get dealt with because you just can't see straight when that's in the way. You're your own enemy always. You just can't. And once you experience yourself in this way that you will in the room, you can't undo that, right? Like when you really see yourself and you have these visceral experiences that expand you, that have you see yourself in multiple different lights, and really open you to you. Then you'll start to see you, right? And yeah, versus me just telling you. Mm. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mm. So, be ready to meet and greet. This is co-ed too, by the way. The four death to lies that are happening, they're co-ed. So men and women are welcome. Um, 27 and up. I'll allow 25, but 27 and up, just because typically on a life experience level, emotional level, yeah, 27 years old and up. Go to the link in my bio to sign up. It's called Death to Lies, Death to Lies, Death to Lies. And yeah, I think that's it today. Any questions before I go? Hmm. You're welcome.